Thumbs up from a lot of people. There's so many names here to say. Janie, Jack, welcome. Jessica, welcome Jessica, Vicky, Jill, Doug, Susan. I see a lot of our regulars here from our video class subscription. Before I start again, my name is Sean from the Holden QiGong team. Welcome me here. I'll be helping out in the chat below. If you have any questions throughout today or have any technical things that you need help with, that is my alarm saying that we are about to get started very shortly. So thank you guys all so much for joining us here today. This is a audio and video check. Let you know you are in the right place and we are about to get started very shortly. But before we do, we have a little tradition here where we like to share where we're connecting from and what you are grateful for in the chat below. So we like to see where everyone is from around the world and what you're grateful for today. So we can get into this session with a little attitude of gratitude to put us into a good mood and get us ready for today. So if you could pop in the chat where you are from around the world and what you're grateful for, we're about to get started very shortly. Thank you guys all again so much for joining us today.
So good to see you all here. My name is Chen. I'll be your MC and host today. I will not be teaching any acupressure. Lee will be doing that. He should be on screen and getting started in just a moment. I guess there was a big accident in Santa Cruz and everyone was kind of in traffic and delayed this morning getting into the studio. So I was just on the phone with him and he was walking in the door or pulling into the parking lot right as we were hanging out a couple of minutes ago. So we should be getting started. See you all here. My name is Chen. Sorry, 1 sec. I had double audio going. So hearing myself talking back to myself, which is always very disconcerting. So yeah, maybe I'll get started with a little bit of the housekeeping, just how today's gonna go while we're waiting for Lee to get started, and then we can get right into the training once Lee's here. So thank you all so much for coming today to this introduction to acupressure training. This is a free training. We like to put these on when we're doing we're opening the doors for a cohort for one of our courses. So this is a free training and we're going to be sharing a little bit about acupressure and some acupressure points, probably do some QiGong. I never know exactly what Lee's going to do on these things. Kind of turn things over to Lee at the beginning and he'll teach for about 25 to 35 minutes or so. And he'll be doing all of those acupressure things that I was just talking about, as well as probably some QiGong and maybe a short meditation. After that, I will transition over and talk about our upcoming acupressure cohort that's starting on Monday. I'll explain what a cohort is and everything. We're kind of just going through our entire acupressure course. So if you really want to deep dive into acupressure stuff, stick around for that. And we'll go through all of the details about the course. And then we'll go into a Q&A session. After that, we'll answer questions. So if you're still around and want to hop on and ask a question or type a question into the chat, I'll be asking Lee a bunch of questions. We'll not be doing video questions today, so it's only questions typed into the chat. That allows us to get to a lot more questions than when we do the video questions. So if you do have a question, you can drop it into the chat and our team will record those questions and I'll be asking them to Lee after he does his thing and I talk about the course. One note on the questions, we will be focusing mostly on questions around like acupressure in general and probably less on like what acupressure point should I do for this thing or that thing, or what acupressure point should I tell my friend to do for their thing. Those are great questions to save for inside of the course or another place. Today, we're really going to be doing Q&A focused on the course and acupressure in general, and really does it make sense for you? So just to frame all of that. And last thing that everyone always wants to know, we will be recording this and it'll get published onto YouTube later today, and then we should send an email about it as well. So if you need to leave at any time, you can just take off and look out for the email or check our YouTube channel for when it's uploaded. You should see it on our YouTube channel, the Holden QiGong YouTube. So if you need to leave, you can catch the remainder of everything, including the Q&A, once it's posted later today. I think that's it. And I did get the notice that Lee is ready to go. So how's it going, Lee?
Great, Chen. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. How are you doing today?
Yeah, doing good. Yeah.
Happy to be out of traffic?
Yeah, that was there's always traffic on this one highway now in Santa Cruz because they're doing construction.
Oh
so, yeah, and there was an accident. So I breathed my way through it. I was reviewing my points while we were stopped. So, I was like, oh, okay, let's teach them this point. Let's teach them this point. Let's teach them this point.
The silver lining and everything. You get some extra point review time.
I sure did.
Yeah, nice. Is there anything that you want to share before we get started and I turn things over to you?
No, not really. I think it will be a great session. I know people really enjoyed this course, and learning points is so fantastic. It's like having a whole first aid pharmacy on your body that you don't even have to go to the medicine cabinet to get a result. So I love it for that reason.
Yeah, this is one of our more popular topics for sure. So
yeah.
All right. Just a note, I see some people sending me messages. Please don't send the messages directly to me. If you have a question, send them to everyone, so then our team can actually get them. If you send them to me, they will probably get lost because I often have to do other things in the background. So make sure when you're sending a message, it's to everyone in the little blue box there. Thanks all. All right, Lee, take it away. I'll see you in a little bit.
Okay. Thank you, Chen. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. This is acupressure, and acupressure is such a fantastic topic. And like we were saying, it just has so much relevance because it is so empowering to just be able to do some points on yourself whenever you have something bugging you. My kids took me to a hot Pilates. They're like, Dad, come to hot Pilates with me. And, not that hot Pilates is my favorite thing, but when your teenage daughters ask you to go do something, I always say yes, because I'm like, I got an invitation. So I went to hot Pilates, and they had us doing like these planks. The room was like 100 degrees, and we were doing like these running things, like knees to the chest, but I was in this plank position for a very long time. And so the next day I was like, oh my gosh, my upper back and neck is like sore. I had all these sore muscles. So I was like, what acupressure points? I was like doing the fall off your pillow. I was doing small intestine 3. I was knocking my points, and I was like, wow, that really worked. So I always get excited when acupressure points give a particular result that is like amazing. It worked. And sometimes it works immediately. Sometimes it works over time, and it just kind of speeds up the natural recovery in your body. Acupressure is thousands of years old, and it works along the meridian system. What is meridians? Meridians are energy pathways that move through your body. And there's 12 primary meridians. That means there's 3 meridians that go on the inside of the arms, and 3 meridians that go on the outside. So there's 6 on the arms, and there's 6 on the legs, which creates these 12 primary channels. There's also 8 extraordinary meridians, and we did a workshop called the 8 Extraordinary Channels, where we did a lot of QiGong practices on these 8 extraordinary. In acupuncture or acupressure, we primarily work the 12 primary channels. So along the river of energy, there is these little vortexes, almost like a step-up converter, where the energy is more activated at certain points. I think of acupuncture or acupressure points like light switches. I see the meridian like the wiring behind the wall, and the area that it's influencing more like the light bulb. So let's say we have a headache, we might press the light switch here, that one of the best points on the body for headaches, large intestine 4, that's the light switch, right? We press it, we do some work, the light bulb turns the energy on in the head, creates a healing effect in the head. The meridian line is the channel of energy that brings the current to that affected area. So whenever we're doing acupressure, you can think of it in 2 different ways. One is that you're going to do something locally. Like if you have neck pain, there's acupressure points in the neck that will help to release tension and bring circulation to the muscles. So that's local acupressure. So it hurts here, you're going to press here. Massage, do acupressure on the area that it hurts. Right? So neck pain, oh, it hurts right here. So for thousands of years, people say, oh, it hurts here. Somebody starts to rub it. And it's like, oh, that feels better. Okay? So that's one way. Or it hurts here. Where's the light switch on the body that will help to dissipate the tension or create a healing effect in that area? So maybe for shoulder, the light switch is here, or the light switch is here. And sometimes we have to go around and look for what you know, it's like being in a new house. You're like, where is that light switch that turns on that light bulb? Acupressure is a little bit like that, because sometimes we're like, did that work? I'm pressing a point. Usually when you press a point, there's often a slight effect in the moment where it feels better. So you start working a point, it's like, yeah, that feels a little better. You work the other side. Oh, that made it feel a whole lot better. Then that's telling you this point is going to be helpful for that area. We can have a whole combination of points. The nice thing about acupuncture with the needles is you can do 10 or 15 points in a treatment and leave them in. So you can put the point here, put the point here, put some points on the feet, and then you have a whole bunch of stimulation to these pressure points that have a healing effect in the body. With acupressure, if somebody's doing it on you, you're really working 1 point, maybe 2 points at a time. Self-acupressure, you're working 1 point at a time as well. So we might do a whole point sequence. We might do this point, we might do this point, we might do this point. And there's different ways that we can stimulate these points as well. So in the course, I'm going to show you how to stimulate points. We go through all the meridians, the major points along these channels, how to stimulate, let's say, how do we get to points on the back? I show different devices that we can use. So it's a really, a wonderfully robust course on how to stimulate these pressure points. And it can be used almost like a first aid manual, where we can just say, oh man, my lower back hurts today. I sat in the car too long. What points were those? And you can kind of look it up and find point combinations in the course. That's really easy. So when we do QiGong practice, when we do our movement practice, often there's point work involved. We might stimulate, when we're doing some knocking, we might stimulate the lung points. So today, we'll do a little bit of QiGong. We'll do a little bit of self-acupressure, and just go through a short sequence that will overall boost vitality in the body. And then we'll go through the course and see if this course is for you. So let's start off with a little bit of warm up. Let's do some QiGong, acupressure, self-massage kind of things. We'll sit back down. Maybe we'll do some points with a little relaxation technique, and then we'll dive into the course and answer your questions. Okay, so I'm going to just move the chair real quick, and we'll stand up, and we'll do a little practice. All right, welcome everybody. You know, one of the first movements that I teach in QiGong almost every class is knocking on the door of life. Now, the door of life is an acupressure point. In Chinese medicine, it is called Ming Men. Ming Men means life gate, and it is an acupuncture or an acupressure point. It is directly behind the navel on the spine. So Ming Men is right here, the door of life. It is under the second lumbar vertebra. And then right next to it in these areas here are points on the bladder channel that are good for boosting energy. They connect to the kidneys. So urinary bladder number 23, right here, when we knock across, we're going to get all three of those points, the two bladder points and the door of life. So when we knock, we're going right across this area. You see that? So the forearm is knocking on Ming Men, and the forearm and the fist is knocking on those two bladder points. There's points up and down. Bladder 23 is the main one, but bladder 24 below it, bladder 22 above it, we're getting these points as well. Now, when you're coming into the rib cage here, you're getting some liver points. So under these, under the ribs here are liver points that are good for the liver, and they clear stress. So all kinds of things right across when we're knocking here, points right in the solar plexus that we're stimulating as well. So let's do that. Turn from your hips, your waist. Your arms and your shoulders are fairly relaxed, but the hands are actually knocking across acupressure points. And when we're knocking on the body, it is one way to do acupressure. So knocking, pressing, massaging, circling on a point is all ways to stimulate the energy of those points. Good. Turning from the hips and the waist, letting the arms knock across the lower back, right through the ribs, and even through the top part of the abdomen. Good. And these points are good for vitality. They're good for boosting energy. So whenever we need a little boost of energy, we stimulate these points. There we go. And then just slowly unwind and relax. Now let's look at some lung points. Let's find the collarbone. You feel the collarbone right here on the chest, and come across. Feel the collarbone dip into your shoulder. You feel that it goes into this pocket right here. Now, the lung meridian starts just below that, so right in here, and do a little exploration. So you feel the collarbone where it dips in. That's right there. Go down an inch and massage. Lung 1 and 2 are in this area. Lung 1 is a little bit lower, so lung 1 is, let's say, here. Lung 2 is here. Lung 3 comes down through the shoulder, and lung 5 is in here, and the lung meridian goes all the way to the thumb, to the end. That's 11 points. Lung 11, it's at the end of the thumb. So we're going to stimulate these points here, press and circle. These points are considered tonics for your immune system. They boost the energy to the immune system. Right, you feel that? So often there's some sore or tender spots in that area. And then find the other side. So you go across the collarbone, it dips in to the shoulder, creates a little pocket, just below that, about an inch below that. That's lung 2. And then just below that is lung 1. They're very close together. They're like almost like this right here. So you massage, circle, doesn't have to be super specific. And you kind of in this area look for a tender spot or a few tender spots. Then you press and circle on that. Now, as you do that, go ahead and take a deep breath. Let's strengthen our respiratory system. Let's strengthen our immune system. And then let's tap on the point. Great. And the other side, tap on the point. Good. And now let's combine it with knocking on the door of life. So when we turn, one arm's going to knock across the lower back here, and the other arm knocking on the chest. And you're stimulating the lung points as well as the bladder and the door of life points. Take a deep breath. That's it. Good. And slow it down and relax. Now there's a point right on the top of your shoulder, on the trapezius muscle right through here, from the neck to the shoulder. This is the trapezius muscle, the very highest point. So if you look at the trapezius muscle here, the very highest point of the muscle, somewhere right in here, that's gallbladder 21. If you curl your fingers and then press down and make a little circle, you'll feel kind of a tender spot, and you can release tension in this area and right into the neck. This point is also good for headaches, because when the energy flows through here more freely, it releases a headache. Gallbladder 21 is a really good point. And we could just massage it, make little circles on it. That one's a little bit easier for somebody else to massage, but it works just fine. Let's do the other side. Find the highest point and press and circle. Get a nice release through this area. That's nice. Good. And then let's come back to knocking on the door of life, but this time we're going to go like this and slap that point. So this hand comes across, the other hand's around your lower back. So you can see when we do our QiGong practice, often there is acupressure theory involved in the movement. Slapping the top of the shoulder. There we go. Very nice. And relax. And relax. Wonderful. And you know, in QiGong we do all kinds of movements. Let's say like wrist circles like this. Opening up the energy in the wrists and the hands. Now, an exercise like this would be good if you're a massage therapist. If you're an energy healer, in QiGong practice, they often will have practitioners do these kinds of exercises to make sure there's energy flowing to the hands. So we could do these kinds of exercises, get the energy to flow to the hands, so that when we do our acupressure, there's more power, there's more energy in the fingers. And that's whether you do it on yourself or you're doing it on somebody else. This course, you're going to learn how to do it on yourself, but it will apply to other people. So if you wanted to do a little acupressure session on friends or family, no problem. You're not a certified massage therapist, but you can do some points on people. I do this all the time with friends, family, my kids, my parents. Oh, I got this problem, I got that problem. Just grab a point or two and watch how it works. Go the other way. Bring some energy to the hands. And what we're doing is opening up the joints, getting the chi to flow, but also movements stimulate acupressure points as well. So let's look at the hands. On the inside of the wrist, if you see this crease here, this crease along the wrist, there's lots of points all along this area. So you feel this little bone right here at the pinky finger. There's a little bone if you feel. Just on the inside of that bone, right there, on the inside, is heart 7. That is a point for good sleep and emotional balance. So take your thumb, press in right there, and circle. Yeah, good sleep, emotional balance. And then if you come into the middle, that's a pericardium point. That point right here in the middle is a special point to not take on other people's energy. So when other people are having a difficult emotional time, you press this point or pericardium 6, and that helps you to not take it on. Meaning that we can be empathetic, but we're not feeling that person's emotion. This point right here, pericardium 7, also is called the breakup point. And it means that when we are in a relationship and having a difficult time, or we've transitioned out of a relationship, this point is often used. Someone came to me when I was an acupuncturist and they said, oh, I just broke up with my boyfriend. I'm really sad. I use this point. And it helps them to bring their energy back to them. So when we need to like disengage, keep ourselves protected, this point's really good. When you come across the wrist crease to the thumb, that is a lung point. That strengthens the lung energy right here. And then it can also be used when we're feeling, let's say, down, seasonal depression. We're feeling a little down for whatever reason. This point is good because it tonifies the lungs. So we can look at areas of the body like the wrist, this wrist crease, and we can see there's 3 really good points along this. Great. Now, take your wrists and let's knock them together like that. And we can stimulate those points. And we're going to stimulate a couple other points as well. So in QiGong practice, we don't often show all the points, talk about it a little bit, but in the acupressure course, we're really going to go into, when we do a movement like this, what points are we stimulating? And then how else can we stimulate those points? Now switch. And knocking the points on the other side. So notice that on the hand that's on the outside, you're knocking those points on the wrist crease. On this hand, you're knocking points on the outside of the wrist. Good. So on the outside of the wrist, this point right here, triple burner 5, it's 3 fingers from the crease of the wrist. So you bend your wrist, you put the finger on there. 3 fingers up about between the 2 bones, triple burner 5. This is a great point for your immune system, for your physical body. So when somebody is like, oh, I'm catching a cold frequently, or it's, coming into fall or winter and everybody's getting sick around you, this is the point to use to boost your immune system. It's called the outer gate, like a fortress. It's like a gate that doesn't allow that pathogenic chi in your body, the outer gate. Think of it like your body's a castle. When you push this point, it's like making sure the waterway or the moat around the castle is strong. So no pathogenic chi invades your fortress. Let's try the other side. 3 fingers right there at the top. Squeeze. And we just stimulate it with that, with the wrist slapping. Outer gate. That's a good one for this time of year. Keep the immune system strong. Now, if we go right through the wrist to the other side, we have pericardium 6. That's the inner gate. So pericardium 6 and pericardium 7 are really helpful to not take on other people's energy. This one we use for anxiety. This also has a secondary effect that is very good for your calming the stomach. And if you look at the pericardium meridian, the inner branch comes into your belly area. So when you press this, it really helps to clear any nausea. Excuse me. Excuse me. It's also good for if you need to sneeze, apparently. A third benefit. So pericardium 6, I'm just kidding, it's not for sneezing. It is for stomach and anxiety. It's also good for insomnia, or you know, when we go to sleep and we've had a lot of emotional stress and it's hard to fall asleep or relax, pericardium 6 is a good point. When it's just general insomnia, heart 7 is a better point. So we can distinguish different qualities of energy. That's why I was saying heart 7, remember, was here. Pericardium 6 is here, more for anxiety and more for just general sleep issues. So pericardium 6, a point that's used all the time. And when we were knocking the wrist, we were stimulating pericardium 6, all the points on the wrist crease, and get a wonderful benefit. Okay, let's do a QiGong flow that will open the energy to those points. Let's go like this. Let's inhale, those wrists cross. So pericardium 6, triple burner 5 being stimulated from right across the chest, drop down. Yeah, inhale, come up. Exhale down. And you feel the earth under your feet. Now, each time you do the movement, come up, switch the hands, whatever hand's in front. Come across, exhale. And this is for balanced emotions. Inhale, come up, right across, a nice clearing, and feel the earth under your feet. And a deep breath, cross the chest, feel the earth under the feet. So in essence, we lightly stimulate those points, we clear negative energy that we might have picked up, we send it down to the earth. And inhale, exhale, and a deep breath. Inhale, we come up. Exhale, press down. Nice clearing across the chest, not taking on the stress of the world around us. And this might be global stress, right? We read the news or we plug into what's going on in society and we get anxious or worried. Just clear it out of your personal energy field. And this is also helpful for when we have just emotional stress from friends, family, our own communities around us. Just clear it out. As an acupuncturist or even like a psychologist, if you listen to people's problems through the day as part of your work, this is a really good one. This little sequence is to clear out whatever you might have picked up from your clients. Good. Let's do it one more time. Nice deep breath. Inhale. Exhale. Come down. Bring your hands down to your sides. Let's just feel the chi in the hands. And take a slow, deep breath. Feel the spaciousness in your chest. This nice, clear energy in your heart center. Wonderful. Wonderful, you guys. All right, let's go ahead and sit back down and we'll talk more about acupressure.
All right. Thanks, Lee.
Great. Let's do a couple more points on the hands. Large intestine 4, right here. This is a great point. It's known as the headache point. It's right here along the bone of the hand, so it's between the webbing of the thumb and first finger in this webbing. And it's in the midpoint. If you feel the very end of the bone is here and the very beginning of the bone is here, it's right in the middle. So that's the point right there. And it's closer to the bone as opposed to in the webbing or the skin. If you get closer to the bone, you're going to get a better result. So good for headaches. And I usually have the hand face down like this, and I'm going to take my other thumb, press in, and do a little wiggle. And it's often a little tender. Often a little tender. Really great point. Good. Take a nice deep breath. Great for headaches. Try the other side. Find the point in the webbing here, close to the bone. And take your thumb and press and wiggle. Large intestine 4, headache point, but it's also called the Tylenol point because it's good for pain anywhere in the body. It's just good for overall general pain, you know, neck pain, shoulder pain, knee pain, low back pain. It's all good. Large intestine 4 is for pain. That's why it's so popular. In fact, in China, they can use large intestine 4 with acupuncture as anesthesia. So they'll do surgery on a patient with no anesthesia and just stimulating large intestine 4. And I've seen it with open heart surgery. They did large intestine 4 and a few other points, but the guy had no anesthesia. He's wide awake, his chest is open, and their doctors are working and they're interviewing him. How's that feel? He's like, well, I feel slight pressure in my chest. And I was like, oh my gosh. So for pain, it works really, really well. So there's large intestine 4. Let's say for neck pain. So maybe we have neck pain up here. So we might use large intestine 4. That helps with the pain. And we might then also use small intestine 3, which directs the chi mainly to the upper back and neck. Small intestine 3 is called the master point of the neck. So we can massage it. Find your pinky finger. Hold a light loose fist, not squeezing tight, but a light loose fist. Feel this knuckle. On this edge of the hand, it's just above the knuckle where it dips in. So you can put a finger there and wiggle. So here's the knuckle, and when I feel it dip in, that's where I'm massaging. Good. And the other side, feel it dip in and circle and massage. And then we can stimulate it. Let's just go like that and knock those points together. Good. Take a nice deep breath. And relax. Hands in the lap. Feel the energy in your hands. Good. And in a short little session, we can stimulate, do a little bit of QiGong, stimulate some points, and have a reset of our energy system and guide and direct healing to key areas in our bodies that we might need a little extra attention in. Wonderful, guys. Let's take a look at this acupressure course, answer your questions, and see if it's right fit for you. Let's bring Chen back on. I'll put my earbuds in.
Okay. Thanks, Lee.
That was fun.
Right after you sat back down, I thought you were done with the acupressure, and I came back up for a second. So
you're off. Not quite yet.
We were so excited to talk about acupressure. So cool. Thanks, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that practice. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to go through all the details about our upcoming acupressure course. If you're not interested in that and you just wanted to participate in this free training, thank you for coming. Otherwise, I'm going to go through all the details about the course, kind of what's inside of it, how much it costs, when it starts, how long it is, all of those types of things. And then we'll answer questions after that. And once again, the replay of this, including the Q&A afterward, will get posted to YouTube later this afternoon. So give me a second just to pull all of my things up, and then we'll get started. Talking about acupressure. I feel like we could turn that into a song. We're talking about
Talk about it's all about acupuncture. A Lee Chen rap. We got a whole
We'd have to
album
run
starting to shape up.
We'd have to run it by your daughters first, I think, to see if
I think so.
if
I think
it
we can
actually.
embarrass them pretty well.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, let's share my screen here. Can you see my desktop?
I can.
Now a big Q,
There we go.
and now another big Q.
I love it. Yep, I can see it.
All right, let's do it. Here we go. We're going to talk about the Acupressure 2025 cohort, acupressure and self-massage, because we're not just doing acupressure here. We're also doing a lot of self-massage techniques. So when we say acupressure, we're also kind of referring to these acupressure and self-massage techniques. This is a 14-week cohort that's starting on Monday, this upcoming Monday. And I'm going to go through all the details now. So again, it starts on Monday, January 13th. So when you get access to the first module, and it ends in Sunday, April 20th. And I think the course was recorded like 2 years ago. I think we did this for the first time. So we'll go through all the details and then answer questions. If you do know that you would like to enroll, you can go to this link, qigo.ng/acupressure25. I'll also paste it into the chat here. If you're watching on the live stream page, you can click there's a button at the bottom of the page or under the live stream video where you can hop over to Zoom. We'll also send this link out in our email later today. So don't worry, you don't have to furiously write it down, and I'll also post this at the end as well. But it should be in the Zoom chat here if you want to go check that out, and then we'll email it to you later. So this course and acupressure is perfect for you if you're wanting to free yourself from physical and emotional issues. You want a set of tools that you can use to quickly relieve those things, like stress and anxiety is a really common example of a way that acupressure can help you. It's also very, very effective for releasing energy blocks very quickly. And it's also very fun to share these points with other people. Once you kind of have a baseline understanding of how they work, and you kind of have got some of the more common, maybe they're like most powerful points, like that. What do they call it? The Tylenol point. Those are fun ones to share with other people and impress your friends at parties. Or if you're like Lee, you go out to the club with your daughters, and then you can use the acupressure points to fend off the other teenage boys.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And this is also, I think, still the case. This course is the course where we dive the deepest into each of the 12 meridians. You say that's still the case, Lee?
I would say that's still the case. Yep, absolutely, Chen.
Cool. So if you're interested in learning more about the 12 meridians, this is definitely the course for you to take. And let's go through module by module what you're going to be learning. So in module 1, you're going to be focusing on the lung, large intestine, stomach, and spleen. And some of the things you'll be doing here, you'll be learning to locate specific acupressure points on your lung meridian to boost your immune system, ease respiratory issues, and help suppress coughs. This is very good, I believe, during the fall time period. You'll also be learning to use the large intestine acupressure points to reduce pain, inflammation, and tension in the body overall. Also, learn why stomach 36 and spleen 6 are among the most critical points for overall vitality and wellness. That little shorthand there, ST36, stands for stomach 36. And then you'll also be doing some QiGong, because we can't do a course here at Holden QiGong without doing some QiGong. Lee has a very energizing QiGong routine in this module that's designed to activate the lung and large intestine meridians, as well as stomach and spleen in addition. So he's designed QiGong routines to accompany all of the acupressure work that you'll be doing to sort of, how do you say it, prime the pump sort of for the energy system through those meridians. Anything else you want to share on that point, Lee?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is great. It's a little bit similar to what we did in class, but we're going to go much deeper that we did in class today. Stomach 36 and spleen 6, there was an acupuncturist from China who came and he used just those 2 points with a couple of points on the arms almost as a panacea for almost 80% of ailments, and he got incredible results. So stomach 36, spleen 6 are really powerful points to use for overall energy balance in the body. Stomach 36, for example, really good for digestion, boosting energy. Spleen 6 is good for calming. It's good for yin energy. So we have a yin and yang balance with those 2 points. And that's why it works so very well.
Perfect. Love it. Thanks, Lee. Next up, Module 2, you'll be diving into the heart and small intestine meridians. This is where you'll be learning to balance yin and yang energies by understanding the heart as yin energy and the small intestine as yang energy, and how these meridians work together to circulate qi through your body. Also, become a master translator of your body's energy. So you can quickly identify wind, heat, cold, dampness, and dryness, and how these types of qi, or I guess it's not types of qi, they're types of pathogenic qi. And how did you categorize what wind, heat, cold, dampness, and dryness lead? Those are diagnosis, right? So
Yeah, they're diagnosis, Chinese medicine diagnosing. So in Chinese medicine, you're diagnosing the energy in the body. And so when there's an imbalance, there's often an excess of dampness. Because Chinese medicine diagnoses you in terms of your energy system, much like a gardener would look at the garden. Is there too much water? Is that why the plant isn't thriving? Is it too dry? So we could say the same thing about us. So if there's too much dryness, people are going to have like itchy, flaky skin. If there's too much dampness, there's a lot of mucus. Or internal dampness is going to be like sluggish metabolism. The wind heat diagnosis is wind would often be pathogenic qi coming into the body. Wind often means something invisible we can't see with the eyes, like bacteria, a virus would often be considered a wind symptom. Now, if there's heat, that means you get a sore throat. That means you have a fever. So wind heat would be like a common cold, sore throat, runny nose, slight fever. What points do we do for that? If it's wind damp, it's going to look like chills and achiness in your body. So you might catch a cold and it might be wind heat, it might be wind cold, or wind cold damp. And we kind of go through these different ways of diagnosing, and then based on a diagnosis, what points are better than others.
Well, thanks, Lee. I appreciate you filling in my knowledge gaps.
Yeah, we're going to start learning Chinese medicine talk. And I think it's good to remember that in Chinese medicine, it's a different paradigm. So we don't talk about, let's say, organs just as a physiological organ. We talk about it in terms of the energy and the energy system, which makes this type of medicine much more holistic. And so having a Chinese medicine background and understanding gives you a whole different way of treating the body rather than just treating a symptom.
Cool. Yeah. Carrying on with Module 2, one of the additional things that you'll be learning to do in this module is how to relieve emotional agitation, anger, stress, and other such agitating style emotions using heart meridian points like heart 5. That's very good for calming emotions, and heart 8 for releasing anxiety. And another thing that the heart meridian can help you with is resolving common menopausal symptoms like night sweats, stiff necks, and headaches. Heart 6, I believe, is a very common point used here.
Mm-hmm. It is the what is heart six called? Six steaming bone point. Like a steaming bone is like when you're lying in bed and it feels like your bones are like a sauna. This menopausal symptom where you're getting really hot from the inside out. So heart 6 is great, and then you could also, well, I feel hot, but I also can't sleep. So then you do heart 6, heart 7, and you can have these combinations. You start to get more skillful at your combining of points as you do a course like this.
Yep, we were calling those in the course content acupressure recipes.
Oh, okay, great. That's right.
Several that you put together when we did the course that address a lot of common issues. And I talk about just 5, like 30 recipes that Lee put together for this course that are combining different points across different meridians to address common issues. I'll go over a couple later on. Just 5 of the 30 that we have in the course. So in module 3, you'll be diving into the bladder, kidney, and pericardium meridians. I think bladder is really, really long. The bladder meridian is very long. There's lots of points on that one. So we're spending quite a lot of time working with the bladder points. One of the ones that's in this module is the point that treats 100 problems that you can use to address a wide range of health issues. And you'll also be, the bladder meridian is also very connected to back pain, fevers, and just bladder health, of course. One of the example points is bladder 40, which is known as the master point of the lower back. And bladder, I believe, is also connected into vision, digestion, and leg pain. So you'll be learning to use points like bladder 1, which has the connotation bright eyes, I believe, bladder 21, and bladder 57. And finally, not finally, just these are like the pared down version of what you're learning. You'll be learning to tonify kidney energy with points like kidney 3 for knee pain and kidney 7 to strengthen the yang energy and kidney 1 for insomnia and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm going through lots of different points just as examples to try and show these are kind of just a few of the points that you're learning in all of these modules that you'll be learning to work with, and when do you use them, when should you not use them, that kind of stuff. So let's go on to module 4. We're doing triple warmer, gallbladder, and liver meridians. This is where you'll be learning to boost your immune system and reduce overall stress using triple warmer, which is, I believe, referred to as the invisible organ, and is the invisible organ that coordinates your body's energy flow, kind of like a traffic controller guiding energy through your body. Anything you want to share there about the triple burner, Lee?
Right. Triple burner is often referred to as the invisible organ because it doesn't have like the liver, which has a physical organ. But I think of the triple burner as the feedback loop of the endocrine system. So in Chinese medicine, they knew that the endocrine system was in communication, but they didn't have the technology that we do now. They had more of an inner technology of feeling it, something happening in the body. So they called it the triple warmer. It's the energy of the head and the glands of the head, like the pituitary, pineal, hypothalamus, the energy of the chest, the heart center, like the energy of the thymus, and the energy of the belly, like the adrenal glands and the reproductive organs, and how this is all connected. Energetically, it's about keeping everything in balance and harmony. And so you can use triple warmer points for harmony, for balance, for energy regulation. So it's a really beautiful organ of integration throughout the body.
Thanks, Lee. Also be going into how to relieve chest pain and more help with insomnia. Also be looking at helping with modern challenges like liver qi stagnation, working with liver 2, which helps blood pressure regulation and release stress, and how to work with and alleviate tendon issues, stiffness, and knee pain using gallbladder 34 and liver 7. So all in all, just again, these are just some samples of what you'll be focusing on in each of these different modules. And we'll be taking 1 week per meridian. So you'll be spending an entire week focusing on the points in that meridian, and then you'll move on to the next one. You might be wondering, well, it's a 14-week course, Chen, right? So we take 2 weeks for bladder because that one's so long. And then there's a final kind of culminating review where we go over a lot of stuff and lead us in a QiGong routine where it looks at all the meridians. We spend 1 week on that. So just noting that. Here are some of the acupressure recipes. We'll be looking at an acupressure recipe for relieving headaches and migraines. Again, the recipes are combination of points across the meridians. So you might be using something from the heart meridian and the liver meridian and combining those points together to create a specific result for yourself. So these are just 5, I think, of the 30 different recipes that we put together for this course. One for headaches and migraines, for soothing anxiety and insomnia, enhancing reproductive wellness, which is using a mix of kidney 3, kidney 6, and spleen 6, supports menstrual health. Also, how to relieve upper back and neck pain, and improving digestive health using spleen 9 and stomach 40. This will help clear dampness and promote a balanced metabolism. And you'll understand by going through the course kind of what does that actually mean that you're clearing dampness. So you dive deeper into that explanation that Lee was sharing earlier. So some additional resources for this course. You're not just going to be going through it, or you could just go through it on your own and not participate in any of the stuff I'm going to talk about here, or you could participate in this stuff as well. So this is a cohort style course. And what that means is for basically everyone that enrolls in this course up until we close enrollment next Thursday, everyone that enrolls is going through it at the same time and is getting the modules unlocked at the exact same time. So everyone that's participating in the Facebook group or in these practice parties that I will explain in a moment will be focusing on the same content at the same time. It just helps create a nice experience for the entire group. And so what we like to do for these cohorts is we host up to 3 times a week what we call practice parties, where we review the routines from inside of the course together over Zoom. So Lee's not teaching live, we're just streaming the pre-recorded content that's inside of the course. You can watch the content on your own, or you can come to the practice parties and participate there. We found that by hosting these practice parties, it creates a set day and time that's very consistent throughout the weeks and throughout the duration of the course. Makes it much more likely for you as a student to actually go through and complete everything. Oftentimes it's, I don't know about you, but I have signed up for an online course before and I do it for the first week and then I never go back and touch it. And just having something that's live where I know that there's a group and there's other people that are showing up helps me stay consistent and actually go through and complete it. It's very important to us that you have the resources to go through and actually get the learning and the transformation that you wanted by participating in the course. So that is why we host these practice parties. They're not recorded because we're just watching the content that's inside of the course. And they are also optional. You don't have to do them. They're just an extra thing that we provide to help you participate. There's also an exclusive online community. This is on Facebook. So if you have Facebook, you're welcome to join this. This is only for people that are inside of this particular acupressure cohort. You do not have to join Facebook you don't have to join Facebook, or if you're anti-Facebook, that's totally fine. The group is entirely optional. There's no content inside of there. It's just a place to chat with the other students. So you'll also get 4 Q&A calls with Lee. These are live and group Q&A calls. So you get to come to those, ask Lee your questions. If you can't make it to one of them, all you have to do is send your question into support@holdenqigong.com, and they'll make sure that Lee sees the questions and answers the question, and then it'll be in the recording, and we'll post the recording into the course area, so you can still get an answer to your question. You do not have to participate in these live. We also have some bonus programs with this course. You learn it's a special acupressure, how to do acupressure massage with a partner. So if you have someone that you'd like to go through this course with, this will help you apply some of these lessons into doing partner work. And we also have an acupressure and meridians for self-healing workshop. The workshop is kind of like the acupressure light version of what's inside of this course. So you'll be able to kind of go through that and you'll see some similarities, but it's more of an overview of acupressure, maybe a bit more of a deeper dive than what we did today, but not anywhere close to what's inside of the course. Anyway, this workshop is included in the acupressure course. And there's also a bonus lesson on the extraordinary meridians. I don't have much information on this one, Lee. Can you share a bit about this?
Yeah, and I think we touch upon the 8 extraordinary meridians because, like I was saying, there's so many different kinds of energy systems in the body. The extraordinary meridians have acupressure points, so we'll show some acupressure points on especially the Du and the Ren meridian, which are not part of the 12 meridian systems, but they're sort of in the midline of the body, and they have some great effects in the energy system. For example, the door of life is on the Du meridian. Du 4 is Ming Men, door of life, and we'll talk about those kind of points along the extraordinary meridians.
Thanks, Lee. Let's go through. I think I went through a lot of how the cohort stuff works. So this acupressure cohort is starting on January 13th, this upcoming Monday. We're going to spend 1 week per meridian, except for the bladder meridian. We're going to spend 2 weeks on that one because there's a lot of points there. You get to come to the practice parties if you would like to come to the practice parties. You could attend the Q&As or send your questions into support, so you can still get interaction with Lee as you go through the course. And we do have this is one of our most popular courses, so we get a lot of testimonials about this one. This is just a few. Dion DeWitt shared that acupressure is their new drug of choice. The body is a walking pharmacy and has its own chemicals, hormones, painkillers, antidepressants, and medicine on board. It's just learning how to access all of your own natural body medicine through energy, which is key. Kind of like what Lee was talking about earlier, that acupressure is kind of like your natural pharmacy kit. Sunny Girl 07 on YouTube, in response to one of our acupressure videos there, shared that they've been suffering from anxiety and depression for years. Thank you for giving me that feeling of peace. This is the best birthday present for me today. Thank you so much. Finally, Andy Pohl shared, holy cow, I have a bunch of things wrong with my back and I'm so sick of medication. I was hunched over with pain today and the meds were only taking the pain down a notch or two. Within 2 minutes of using the pain point, I had a significant decrease in the level of pain. It didn't take it away completely, but it definitely was less. I'm guessing that was the Tylenol point.
Sounds like it to me.
Yeah. So again, how this course works, you're going to go through module by module. We'll release the modules so they become available to you, so you don't get access all at once. You'll get one module at a time. You get 4 live Q&A calls with Lee, get the practice parties, and after everything's all unlocked, you get lifetime access to the entire course, so you can go back and review it as many times as you wish and whenever you want. The course schedule: Module 1 releases on January 13th, Module 2 on February 10th, Module 3 on February 24th, and Module 4 on March 17th, and then Module 4 goes until April, whenever I said the course ended, April 20th or something like that. It's pretty long. The practice parties happen on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific, Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific, and Sundays at 4 p.m. Pacific. Again, you don't have to attend all of these. These are optional. They're an additional resource for you so that you know that there's a place that other students are practicing. and getting together and practicing. I think usually we leave the Zoom room open for a little bit so you can hang out and chat with other students if you want to do that as well. It can be a very fun time. All right. The investment for the entire acupressure course, everything that I've been talking about in this presentation, you can pay in full. This is the best value for a one-time payment of $697. This is all US dollar prices. We do have a 2-month payment plan. There are lower payments, but there's a little bit of a payment plan admin fee that's tacked on. Make sure you do the math there and make sure that's okay with you. There's a 2-month payment plan. It lowers the payments a bit, but you are paying a little bit more in total. So it's 2 payments of $377 US. And if you have already taken the acupressure course, this is the same acupressure course that we've had on our site. This is not a new course. So if you already have the acupressure and self-massage online course, you can participate as an alumni with all of the practice parties and Q&A calls. There's no new content that's being added. So if you'd like to get access to the practice parties and Q&A calls, as well as the Facebook group, your alumni price is only $67. You should have an email with a coupon code that you can enter during checkout to discount it down. Please do not share that coupon code in the chat, as it is only for people that have the course already. Thank you. We also have a 30-day guarantee from the time that the course starts. So you can enroll now and you have until February 13th to decide if you want to continue. So you get to participate in a very large chunk of the course. And if you just decide that it's not for you, just email our support team, support@holdenqigong.com, and they'll issue you a full refund. We want to make sure that the course is actually useful to you and you're getting what you want out of it and you feel like you're getting the value out of it. So that's why we offer these guarantees. And here you go. The link to learn more and enroll in the acupressure cohort is this qigo.ng/acupressure25. And yeah. And I'll leave this up for a second longer, then we'll answer some questions. So, anything you want to share before we transition into Q&A mode?
Great presentation, Jen. That was great. I think it's yeah, like you said, just to clarify, you could do this self-paced. You can join some of the practice parties. You can join all the practice parties. There's a lot of flexibility in it. Let's say, sometimes people go, I'm going to be on vacation for a week, so I won't do that week. It's easy to catch up. You always have the lessons in your library once they're released, and you could do them anytime. And you'll always have those lessons for always. They're in your library.
Yep. Forever and ever.
Yep, exactly.
Awesome. Cool. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and let's answer some questions, shall we, Lee?
Yeah, let's do.
And actually, I'm not sure if anyone shared the link into chat. Sean, could someone from the team please post that link into the chat for people? Thank you, thank you. All right, stop sharing that. Cheryl was wondering earlier, Lee, if acupressure and using acupressure can help relieve anxiety.
Yeah, and we talked about that in today's class. So great. I mean, I think anxiety is something so many people are facing, from mild to very severe cases of anxiety. And I do think Qigong is one of the best remedies, because it's something we could do for ourselves. It's something we could do in the moment, whether it is knocking on the wrist, doing a flow, making a healing sound, just pressing a point. It all works wonderfully well for in the moment relief. And like one of those testimonials said, it's not a substance that we need to rely on that has side effects. It's natural. We massage our point, we take some deep breaths, we maybe do a little tapping, and all of a sudden, gosh, we feel better. And that's what I love about this practice, especially with mental, emotional things. It works really, really quickly.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those like tools. Once you have it in your toolbox, it's very, very effective.
Yeah,
I know I use
yeah,
there's a point for nausea, I think, on your wrist because I get car
yeah,
sick on the airplanes.
yep,
I was yesterday and I was sitting on the airplane holding that during takeoff
yeah.
and landing. It's very helpful.
It's
So
super helpful. Yeah, I use that point all the time because I'm sensitive to motion, especially boats and planes.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
Lots
always
of
using that
planes.
one, Chen.
Yeah. Uh yeah. Love nausea. Nausea is my friend.
Yes, that's right.
Uh, what would you say is the difference between acupressure and acupuncture?
I mean, one's using a needle, one's using your hand. That's the main difference. And using a needle is really effective. With acupuncture, you can stimulate a lot more points at the same time. And so the beauty of acupressure is something you can do on yourself, and it's very convenient. Like you don't always like as an acupuncturist, I don't always have my needles. It's not always practical, but sitting on a plane, sitting on a bus, in your office, it's real easy to do some points. If I like the combination. If you go to an acupuncturist once a week and you do your pressure points on yourself a little bit every day, it can be super effective. Or if you're not seeing an acupuncturist, you always have your own treasure chest of points to work on and your own acupressure tools.
Nice. Lee? Someone just asked in chat. They're saying they're having surgery on February 6th. Is there a way that I could do this later? And I just have
Ah,
this feeling that it might be if you're getting surgery. I don't know what type of surgery, but it might be a very helpful thing to actually be focused on and doing to help
yeah,
you heal. So
right. Right. And I think you're right, Chen, because it's often after surgery, there's recovery. Before surgery, you can, prime your body to get the energy circulating, do points, do Qigong. That's what I always recommend before surgery. So your energy system's stronger, so your recovery is easier. And then let's say I don't know, if you had knee surgery, you're in bed, you can't stand up and move around a lot. You could do a whole thing of acupressure on yourself for a quicker recovery and just to keep your energy circulating while you're, let's say, in bed or not as mobile. I'd say if you had surgery if you're getting double arm carpal tunnel surgery, yes, wait, because you're not going to be able to use your hands. If you're not going to be able to use your hands, it's probably best to wait. But if you're doing something else, some other surgery, and you have access to moving your hands and doing your points, it's a great time to do something while in recovery. So a little food for thought.
oh, it's hip surgery. She just
Hip
shared.
surgery. Yeah, there you go. I'd say then you're going to be either seated or lying for some recovery time. This is great. And there's also distal points, let's say on the knees, that are good for the hips. And large intestine 4, the Tylenol point, great for pain.
Well, thanks, Lee. Um, yeah, Christy is just asking if we're going to do another cohort for this year. I very much doubt it. We kind of get to one a year. So this is probably the only acupressure cohort that we'll do this year. We'll probably do another one next year. Say probably because who knows? Maybe we do another one, but if we do, it'll be in a while because we like to cycle through all of our courses and doing different cohorts for all of them. Lori asked earlier, Lee shared that they've been using acupressure points for years, but they haven't been working. Any advice on why it doesn't seem to give relief?
Yeah. Two things. One is the pathogenic chi or the stagnated chi is too strong. The other is that you're not doing acupressure either correctly, strong enough, or if the body doesn't have enough chi. So you're not doing enough QiGong. So that's why in the course we do some QiGong, build the chi, direct the chi to the area that's needed. And that combination usually gives the best result because you build up enough energy. Now when you do your acupressure, you have a nice strong flow of energy to that directed area. Those would be some of the reasons. So if we're really depleted, you need to do some more QiGong so that the acupressure has a little bit more power behind it. You might need to do acupressure a little more frequently, and there might be a better way of doing acupressure. So sometimes it's the press and circle, sometimes it's straight pressure, sometimes it's light pressure, very energetic touch. And I'm going to show different ways to stimulate a point to address the energy on different levels of the body. That can make the efficacy go up a whole lot.
Cool. Will you also talk about how long to hold a point for and how hard to press?
Yeah, we will. We will through the course. Exactly.
Lots of questions about that today.
Yeah. And in general, you know, squeeze and press on a point for 30 seconds to a minute, straight pressure, or press and wiggle. And that usually gives good results in a general way. And then there's many other techniques to use to stimulate points, and we will talk about those through the course.
Well, thanks, Lee. And are there any, if someone's pregnant, I think that there are some contraindications for doing acupressure with pregnancy. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, there are, and we will. Large intestine 4, for example, is not a point you want to use when you're pregnant, because this point makes the chi go downward. So especially in that first trimester, you don't want the chi moving downward. You want the chi to be held in. So first trimester, there's more risk of miscarriage. So you don't do large intestine 4 or spleen 6. And I think throughout the course we go over, there's a couple more points, usually points around the inner ankle, large intestine 4, gallbladder 21. These are all points that make chi move downward, which can be great for a headache, but not great for pregnancy. But otherwise, most of the points can be really helpful for pregnancy. Stomach 36, spleen, pericardium 6 can help with morning sickness tremendously.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thanks, Lee.
Yeah.
And how does someone tell if their meridian is blocked, or like the energy is blocked, or there's an issue with a particular acupressure point?
I mean, one is discomfort. Is there pain? Is there discomfort? Is there a feeling of like dis-ease? Like, that's just not quite right. Something in my body hurts. That means chi is stagnating. Like when I did hot Pilates with my kids, I just did some stuff that my body wasn't used to. So after, the next day I felt sore muscles and I felt a little bit of neck pain. And so the chi got blocked. And so immediately I was doing my acupressure points to free up the chi. The sooner you do it, the better. If you've been working on a computer as a desk job for years, and you've had tension in your upper back and neck for years, it will take a little more time to free that kind of stagnation up. So a little bit more consistent practice. What you'll find is early practices, like one of the testimonials, it's like the pain was at a 9, and then I did my acupressure, it dropped down to a 4. So you'll feel relief, but you're gonna wanna keep doing the acupressure to get the chi flowing. And then you're gonna also wanna figure out ways to not do the thing that's irritating the body. So it's kind of the therapy, and then don't do the things that are injuring it as much or as regularly. Like, for example, people sitting at a desk, maybe you do a standing desk. Maybe if you're working on a computer for 8 hours, the strategy would be once an hour, do a few stretches. And those kinds of things can help tremendously.
Awesome. Thanks, Lee. I just want to clarify, Mary just asked in chat, what time of day is the class on the 13th? There is no class on the 13th. That's just the day that you get access to Module 1. So on the 13th, you get access to everything in Module 1. So all of the videos and that it has videos where Lee's lecturing and going through all of the points on those meridians. Not all of them. He goes through the ones that he thinks are the most important to know on the meridians that are inside of Module 1. So you can go start watching those videos whenever you want to on January 13th. On the 14th is when there's the first practice party, and you could go and watch the first routine and hang out with the other students and do that with everyone. If you can't make that, you can always do that on your own. They're just watching the videos that are inside of the course. So again, there's no live class on the 13th. You're just getting access to module 1. Is it safe to stimulate lung points when you have an overactive immune system? Autoimmune, MCAS,
Right.
allergic.
That's a good
reaction.
question. Yeah, and it is, because when we're doing acupressure, you're waking up the body's intelligence. So the immune system is an intelligent system. It recognizes a pathogen versus your own body. Now, when there's an issue with the immune system, it loses some of its intelligence. That's usually because of some kind of stress. And when we go through a stressful period in our life, the immune system gets overly vigilant and maybe will attack some part of the body. So when we're doing acupressure or QiGong, we reintroduce intelligence to the system by calming stress, getting the body's energy back to balance, and then the immune system both becomes stronger and wiser. So there's no problem, let's say, if your immune system is, you want to calm your immune system down because of some autoimmune issue. If you do QiGong for a healthy immune system, it's not going to create more problems for you.
Thanks, Lee. And the course style is, there's no PowerPoint stuff. Lee doesn't usually use PowerPoints. He does have a whiteboard where he's kind of going through the points on the meridian. So you can see like a little video, a little shot of Lee, and then whiteboard, and he's going through the points. So you can pause the video and see exactly what he's talking about on the diagram. So it's a combination of lecture and practices. It's usually pretty standard, kind of similar to what we did today, but much longer and more in depth and focused on specific meridians and then specific practices and routines. So if you've done any of our workshops or any of our other courses, it's very similar. There's no workbook. There are no PDF handouts. It's all videos. So it's all in the videos. The videos have nice clear descriptions with notes and bullet points about what's in the video, so you can find exactly what you're looking for in those videos. Let me find another question for you, Lee. There's lots of questions from people about specific points for specific things, but again, we're not really going to do a lot of those Q&As today because those are great questions for inside of the course, to make sure that we get questions about acupressure in general answered. So that's the kinds of questions that I'm looking for today. And what would you say if someone's working with a point and it hurts, Lee? Should they stop doing that?
No, you're on the right point. If it hurts, your body's saying this is an area that needs some kind of movement of energy. You know, so when you're pressing these lung points, for example, and you're like, "Ooh, that's really sore." In Chinese medicine, they call that an alarm point, meaning that you should pay attention to the respiratory system or even the immune system. So it's like ding, ding, ding. As you press, you might go, you might not even know that there's some energy imbalance, and you go, "Oh, that's tender right there. I guess I'm holding a lot more emotional stress than I realized." So you don't have to press it till like it really hurts, but nice gentle stimulation of that point or a little tapping can help the body then rebalance or discharge an excess of tension and bring the body into a healing state.
Cool. Thanks. Are we getting more? I'd say Julie's asking about the time commitment for the course. I'd say it kind of depends on how many practices you want to do throughout the week. So usually when we're focused on a single meridian, we're doing the same set of practices in the practice parties throughout that week. So you can do those routines. You could do it 3 times. You could do them 5 times. Do it every day if you want to do that. that'll drastically change how much time you're putting in. I'd say at a minimum, it's probably, if you're watching the lectures and doing the routine once or twice, it's going to be 3 to 5 hours or so. Of course, if you're doing all of the practice parties and you're watching the content multiple times and all of that, it's going to be much more than that, but that's kind of up to you. You don't have to do that. You can just watch the lecture once and do maybe 2 practices throughout the week is a good schedule for you.
The other thing too, guys, is that the course isn't necessarily sequential. Each meridian stands on its own. So let's say you missed, you went on vacation, you didn't do anything for 2 weeks, and you just jumped right back in to some practice parties and doing your acupressure, you'll be fine, because you can always go back and review. Remember, the course content you'll have forever. You don't have to learn everything the first time through. So it is very self-paced. You can dive in, you could say, oh, I just really want to work on my immune system. You could target areas for your own body and maybe do the other practices very lightly and do some others that are targeted to you much more strongly. So your time commitment can be, really self-paced and up to you.
That is a very good point. Thanks, Lee. There's also some questions about books. Usually I think you recommend a manual of acupuncture to accompany the course, but that's more of an app and a book.
It's an app and a book, and I love the app because it's cheaper than the book and you get more content. And you can just quickly look up LI4. You just in the search bar, look up LI4 and it shows you exactly, and the illustrations in that are really good. There's a lot more information there's a lot more information in the app and the book than you will need to know, but you'll get real clear descriptions of points and how to find points in that app. So it's called A Manual of Acupuncture.
There you go. Thanks, Lee.
Yeah.
I think we should probably start to wrap things up here. Are there any final points that you'd like to make before we wrap things up? Because I think we have to get ready for a class.
I do, that's right. We're going to be doing some QiGong here in a minute. Yeah, guys, I think we covered it. It's a really wonderful resource to have. I mean, if you're interested in acupressure on yourself, especially having a healing effect in the mind and the body, is expanding your knowledge of Chinese medicine and even QiGong, this is a great addition to those practices. The bonus of working on partners is in there, and the course isn't really designed to work on somebody else, but you'll have a lot of techniques. At every point you learn on yourself, you can do with a partner, friend, family, that kind of thing. So it just gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of how to utilize a really beautiful and ancient practice that we all have right here within us, but we've never been taught how to utilize it or learn how to use it. So I think there's a lot of magic and empowerment in learning acupressure.
Great. Thanks, Lee. Yeah, and if you're wondering about the Q&A schedule and the practice party schedule and all of that, there is some information on the link that I just posted into the chat, but all of it's inside of the course. We have every single date and time and all of that inside of the course laid out for you, so everything's very clear once you've logged in and everything. Thank you all so much for coming to this introduction to acupressure training today. I really appreciate you taking the time. I will process this recording and post it onto YouTube later this afternoon, so look out for that, and then you should be receiving an email as well. So thank you all so much. If you have further questions about the course or anything that feel like you'd like a little bit more clarity on, that we'll do our best to help you out, send your question into support@holdenqigong.com. They won't be able to answer any kind of what point should I do for this thing kind of question, but they can answer questions about the course, dates and times if you still have questions about those, or should I do it now or later, that kind of stuff. They're very, very helpful and quick to respond. So thank you all so much. We'll post the link into the chat once again. for you to learn more and enroll if you would like to do that. And hopefully we see you on Monday next week, and then on Tuesday for the first practice party. So thank you all so much. We really appreciate you taking the time and hanging out with you. And we'll see you soon. Thanks, Lee.
Thank you, Chen. That was fun, guys. Take care. See you soon.